Hey, yo, everyone. Welcome to the Smash Pod, brought to you by SmashUp's Sports, the only next-gen fantasy sports game that lets you choose your players, choose your Smash cards, and dominate your opponents. I'm your host, Chef. I'm here with my boy, Hawk. We are here to talk fantasy, Smash Up fantasy, sports, all the good stuff. Today, in our episode, we are going to go through our top 5 Smash starts of the week. We're excited that we are in week 4. Things are finally starting to crystallize. We can be more confident about our decisions that we ultimately end up getting wrong. Speaking of wrong, what's up, Hawk? How's it going?
Good, good. You mention every episode pick your players, pick your smash cards, dominate your opponents. When does the dominate your opponents part coming? So far, we've got other people are racing to the top of the weekly tournaments, and I'm sitting in the what do we call it, the upper mid lower back area.
So you're somewhere in the middle of the pack, right?
I'm right in the middle of the butterfly tattoo on someone's lower back.
Well, maybe that'll carry you to the top. I don't know. I mean, in the weeklies, man, I play the weeklies. Obviously, I have just nowhere to be seen near the top. Like, I'm always scrolling to find my name somewhere in the middle of the 1,000+ lineups that are in there. In league play, though, we're in a league play together, and obviously some other league plays. I'm doing okay. How are you doing in league play in Smash Up?
Better. It was crazy. Remember, this started like with both my home leagues and with the Smash Up leagues. I started like 0 for the first week was like one of my worst fantasy weeks ever. Now, then I much better. The second week, last week was almost like undefeated. I was towards the undefeated in like my matchups, and then like towards the top of my Smash Up league. So still a long season, could come crashing down next week, but I'm feeling better than I was. The tears are starting to dry up a little bit. So
awesome, man. Good to hear that you're doing better. And maybe that means your insights, your rationale, and your observations are dialing in a bit more, which is going to be helpful for your smash starts that we're about to share with everyone here. So today's episode, we're actually going to share our smash starts for this week, our top 5. So Hawk is going to dive into his 5 smash starts. I'm going to dive into my 5. So we have our smash starts for week 4. Hawk, why don't we jump right into it? Why don't you kick us off by naming your smash starts?
Yeah, so number 1, I'm doing CJ Stroud with Cannon Arm. The Jaguars allowing the most points to quarterbacks. I think this is a no-brainer. Saquon Barkley then is my running back. I'm putting on run CMC against him. He's going to run all over Tampa Bay, who not only cannot stop the run, but is allowing the most yardage to running backs on pass catching. Then, of course, everybody's favorite, Malik Neighbors, bringing them in with tunnel vision of love. He's had 12 and 18 targets the last 2 weeks, and I think he keeps it rolling this week. It gets a ton of targets against the Cowboys. For tight end, I'm going Colt Kmet against the Rams. Now I'm just playing Human Vulture, cheaper card, but going to multiply those touchdowns. The Rams D is bad. Eric Salbert just had 41 yards against them. I think he gets a bunch of targets and catches again. And finally, for my defense, I'm taking the 49ers defense and takeaway car. 49ers D has not been that good this year, but New England offense has been even worse. Andy Dalton had more passing yards in 1 week than New England's had the entire season. So give me that Niners D, and I'm feeling good heading into this week.
Awesome, man. I love those plays. All right, love the list, Hawk. Why don't we just dial in a little bit deeper? Anything that you love in particular about these plays that made you feel so confident?
Yeah, so let me just hone in on CJ Stroud here. I think that look, the Jaguars just let the Bills put up 47 points against them. And it wasn't just that they gave up a lot of points. The Bills have a good offense. They look like a mess. 3 weeks now, they look like a mess. It is a dumpster fire. The coach is not going to make it through the season at this point. Jaguars fans are already like out for blood, and I don't think that's a situation that's getting better. So I love Stroud to have a get-right game after he kind of had a poor game last week. But it's not just Stroud. I'm going to take Stroud here with Cannon Arm, but I would pretty much take anybody on Houston this week. I love Nico Collins, love Stephon Diggs. I think they might even have a big game. Whoever they wind up starting, Cam Akers, anyone that gets a touch at running back. I feel like this could be another 40-point game against the Jaguars. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think you're right there. I think the Texans definitely need to get off the schneid a bit. They had a big week 1 and then had a little bit of a step back or subpar performances for what I think the expectations are for that offense. I think a big thing is Joe Mixon, though, right? Like, he was part of that offense in week 1, and then he's been hurt, and then you've seen them take a little bit of a step back, but the Jaguars are a remedy for most offenses. So I like that play.
Did you say off their schneid? I'm not familiar with this term. Is that like
Off
a
the
real
schneid.
thing?
Off the schneid. Look it up, man. Look it up. I did want to also call out, like, Malik Neighbors is just balling out of control right now. So love the tunnel vision of love play on him. He could lead the league in targets this year. And so there's no one else out there. I mean, you have Robinson, maybe.
Yeah. Wandell Robinson. No, and here's the thing: Cowboys could dominate, and they could play good enough defense that maybe Neighbors can get a bunch of catches. But you've got to imagine that that the Giants are going to be passing. Daniel Jones might throw the ball 47 times, and you got to imagine 30% of those could easily go to Neighbors.
Yeah, I think Neighbors is in for a huge, huge week, and we'll see what happens tonight on Thursday night. Cole Kmet, though, let's talk about that. He is someone that kind of just popped onto the scene for this season just last week. So we're already banking on him repeating that performance. Are we concerned about being Hunter Henry?
Always concerned about that. But look, it's tight. And I think making these lists, I partially, the easy thing to do would be to be like, hey, here's the best player at every position. I'm trying to like mix value up and down the board. And I think for Kmet, if you do want to go spend some money in your budget on Saquon and CJ Stroud, Kmet is a cheaper tight end. I think about 4.4K of budget on SmashUp. And the Rams, they just let Salver put up 41 yards on them. They are not a good defense. They give up, I think, the fourth most points to tight ends. Look, Williams passed 53 times last week. He may not do that again this week. So I don't want to count on Kmet getting 10 targets, but they did seem to start developing a connection. Kmet did perform well with Justin Fields in the past. So I just feel like this is a situation where rookie quarterbacks tend to love their tight ends. And now that they've got that connection, I could see Williams at least giving him 6 to 8 targets. I could see Kmet having a good game. And in the red zone, I mean, he's always been a big red zone target. I could see him getting a score, which ultimately is kind of, if you get a touchdown from your tight end, that's a pretty good game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that tips the scales, right? Like touchdown automatically vaults you to a top 5 minimum tight end finish. So I hope so, man. The tight end position has just been so nasty this year so far. So hoping for a good game from Cole Kmet, because then he'll just add some value to the position.
But I like how you say, like, he could Hunter Henry you. Like the way the tight end position has been, you could say he could Trey McBride you, he could Dalton Kincaid you, he could Mark Andrews you. Like he could Travis Kelce you. It is a wasteland right now.
Mark Andrews is in trouble, man. I think he only had like 33% of the snaps that he ran around on last week. So that is not good for Mark Andrews owners.
But he's still getting paid. So good for Mark Andrews.
Yeah. Okay. That wraps up Hawks smash plays for week 4. Definitely ready to dive into my list. So, all right, let me give you Chef's top 5 smash plays for week 4. First, at quarterback, Kyler Murray. He faces the Washington defense that's given up the most passing touchdowns in the NFL, including a 41-yard hookup last week against Cincinnati. Play Hail Mary on Kyler Murray. He's going to hook up with Marv for a big one this week to earn 30 more points. Next up at running back, we've got Jordan Mason and bruising bell cow. Mason should once again be the focal point of this banged up Niners offense, with the Niners being a 10-point home favorite. Mason will soak up 20 plus carries and ice this game away, which will get you 1 point for each of those carries. At wide receiver, I've got DK Metcalf and Speed Demon. Detroit has allowed the most receptions, targets, and yards to wide receivers in the NFL this season. DK has been on fire with 40-plus yard touchdown receptions in back-to-back weeks. Use Speed Demon for an extra 30 points as he makes it 3 in a row under the bright lights of Monday night. For tight end, I've got Dallas Goedert. Playing end zone is lava is going to be the key here. Goddard slides into the top receiving role for a banged-up Philly team. No Devontae Smith, no A.J. Brown. All is good. He's fresh off of a 10-catch, 170-yard effort. Expect Goddard to once again eat within the 20s. Once you play on zone is lava, you get 2x his receiving yard points. Lastly, I've got the Cowboys defense versus the New York Giants. 2 words, Daniel Jones, or 1 word, turnover. Play takeover car. You're going to see some Daniel Jones turnovers tonight. I think he pumpkins a little bit. He may still give a good game to Malik Neighbors, but ultimately, if you're getting points from takeaway car off of turnovers, Daniel Jones is your boy. Play the Cowboys versus the Giants. All right, and that's the Chef's list of top 5 smash plays for week 4. So any initial thoughts on that, Hawk?
That's a great list, but I'm thinking you just gave me an idea at the end, which you could also, we always tend to go for the good players, but you could also very easily start Daniel Jones against the Cowboys and play Goldfish Memory. Get 8 points for every turnover instead of -2. Jones could have 3-4 turnovers tonight. This could be a 32-point performance.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, normally you wouldn't want to watch the New York Giants offense play, but if you could be on the lookout for turnovers and cheer for them, all of a sudden a nasty night from Daniel Jones is exciting. And then you still got Malik Neighbors, though. He's going to be, he's so fun to watch.
So look, if you're a Giants fan, go to Smash Up, start Daniel Jones, start Malik Neighbors, Tunnel Vision of Love on Neighbors, and Goldfish Memory on Daniel Jones, and you're going to have fun watching your team lose by 30 because you're going to be winning, shooting to the top of the standings on Smash Up, putting a cool $1,000 in your pocket for free.
Any other plays stand out to you? Anything that you have maybe a little bit of issue with?
No, I mean, I love the list. I love Mason to bounce back this week. I mean, he wasn't even bad last week. I think we just thought he would he was bad in the sense he
Yeah,
had
he
like
didn't
8
score.
yards,
He didn't
and we
score,
thought he would
right?
get. He was like me on prom night, just a lot of yardage, but could not get into the end zone.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Left alone in a parking lot crying. Did that happen to him? I don't know. Maybe I'm making stuff up now.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a Jordan Mason night. Maybe just you. But I will say, I think of the 5 that I listed, obviously I love all of them as smash plays, but I particularly love the DK Metcalf speed demon play. Like I mentioned, he's had back-to-back games with 40-plus yard TD receptions. I think one was 50 yards and the other one was 70 yards. And Detroit just gives up those huge chunk plays. Like I said, allowed the most receptions, targets, and yards to wide receivers thus far. I mean, that's a perfect formula for Speed Demon because all you need is a 40-yard play. I don't mean to say only, but he's already got a 50 and a 70-yarder in back-to-back games.
Loving that Ryan Grubb offense. It took a week to kind of get it going, but now it's moving. Probably be even better when Ken Walker gets back. So exciting. I've got DK in a few leagues. He's the guy I was targeting this offseason that we talked about. And so, yeah, nothing will make me happier than if you're correct on that call, both from my Smash Up lineups and my league play.
Yeah, definitely. And like the only Metcalf I think has flown under the radar because his week 1, he was being shadowed by Surtain, who is just shutting down everyone. But after that, he's been balling out. And so Seattle looks good. They're 3-0, unfortunately on top of the NFC West, but hoping for a Niners victory to climb back into the race there because Seattle does look good.
Speaking of which, maybe just another tip for listeners. We're talking about good players, but the only thing Surtain in the NFL right now is do not start a receiver against Surtain. He is just absolute shutdown corner at the moment. So this week, the Broncos play the Jets. And so Garrett Wilson has been actually playing pretty well. Had a really good week last week. In fact, little fun factoid that of all the touchdown passes that Aaron Rodgers has thrown in his career, the one to Garrett Wilson was the first touchdown he's thrown to a first-round pick. But Surtain will be shadowing Wilson. So
yeah,
I would not start him in Smash Up for sure. And I might even consider benching him in a home league if I had a decent option on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, in most home leagues and redraft, you're not ever benching a guy like Garrett Wilson. But if he's playing against Surtain or anyone of similar calibers playing against Surtain, you almost got to expect that they're not going to get more than 4 or 5 fantasy points. It really is incredible the type of coverage Surtain is giving right now. So I would bench Garrett Wilson in favor of like typically a flex guy or a wide receiver 3 or 4. You're just not going to get very many points.
So like on my prom night, I was Garrett Wilson and my complete lack of game was Patrick Surtain. It just came together.
Merging together beautifully to result into nothing.
Crying in a parking lot, drinking a slushie. Yeah.
All right. That is it for us for our Smash starts of the week. Hopefully these plays bear out and we look like geniuses, or maybe it's just somewhere in between. Speaking of geniuses, Hawk, why don't you let people know how they can continue to follow and listen along?
So first of all, make sure you subscribe on whatever software you're listening to us on. Get more of these pearls of wisdom. Other than that, go to SmashUpsports.com and register. Free weekly tournament, no entry fees, no pay to win. A league play and single player campaigns coming in the next couple of weeks, first of its kind. Then go all across social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Zynga. Yeah, go, probably even have a Zynga page somewhere at SmashUp'sSports. Other than that, I think that is our show. And kids, be safe. Either get condoms or just have my complete lack of game. Either one. Equally helpful to protecting you from all the bad stuff out there.
That's right. All right, we're pulling out of here. Later, everyone.
Pulling out, I'm not even putting in.